topic was going to be.
Just as Jay said, he's such a nice guy.
He's kinder
and jealous. He goes
I had to spoil it.
Not even a word.
I had to spoil it.
Boom!
Okay. It's okay. Listen,
Just to let everybody know the old bull is still in there.
it'll still do better numbers than Bulls podcast. That's okay.
Shots fired. Oh, my God.
I got 20,000 on my last Browns post game. I don't know. You going to get more than that, Mike?
Yeah, I did 30,000 on my Amari Cooper stream yesterday. So whatever you want to do, Bull. Whatever you want.
Fuego.
All right, no, but in all seriousness,
they're flying
this next
around.
topic was going to be, does the Amari Cooper trade signal the Browns waving the white flag? And before anyone answers, I want to read you a quote here from Kevin Stefanski today, who is speaking to the media right now. Steve, take that quote. Kevin Stefanski, when asked about trying to sell to the locker room that the team is still trying to win after the Cooper trade, said, quote, I think our guys get the number one thing here is to win. Number one thing is to compete. The truth is, you do lose guys throughout the course of a season. Sometimes it's due to injury. Sometimes it's due to trade. Whatever it may be, and our guys have to step up when that time comes.
Now,
I
that's
don't know
a
why
lie.
it cuts off there, but that is the end of the quote. Do you believe the Amari Cooper trade signals the full-on tank job for the Browns or not?
Well, that's a different story between full-on tank job.
No,
and
full
not
on is
trying
when they
to
trade
win.
Miles Garrett.
Yeah.
That is a 100% white flag tank job.
Right. I don't.
Right
think,
now, we're putting our toes in the water.
But it clearly signals that winning is not the first priority. No.
No, it does because Amari Cooper makes the team better.
Yeah.
Unless they know something we don't know.
Right. Unless he's been a cancer in the locker room.
He has been,
who knows?
I just really can't see that because we haven't heard that in his past. And, and we know that I know this much. I mean, from my life, as you get older, like you become like more mature a little bit. So I think well, maybe it depends, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I think he's 30 years old. Like what's he going to do in the locker room? He's going to be like pissed off, moping around? Is he going to like try to be a cancer? Because there are guys like that try to get other people. Misery loves company, right? So they love to get people to come and commiserate with all the negative things and thoughts and all those things. But like, I don't think that's how he was. With that being said, the Browns are worse today by getting rid of Amari Cooper.
Right.
However, they may be better because of the third-round pick, although it depends who's making that selection.
Right.
And that's only better next year at the earliest.
Right, yeah, sure.
Third-round picks sometimes don't show up right away.
I think the Browns are absolutely like at a crossroads as to what to do because this is completely off script. This is not what they thought was going to happen. They thought it was going to be easy. They thought they were hitting that easy button when they got Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Now they put themselves in a really tough spot where I don't know how they recover from it in the near future in terms of like the next couple of years without trading a Myles Garrett, without getting first-round picks, because that's how you're going to build the franchise back up, and they don't have the assets.
And you know what? I hate to say this because I'm hoping this is not true, but I don't think this is impossible. We all think that this Deshaun Watson thing is over. Maybe not over in terms of he's still going to play for now, but like, I don't think there's anybody left. Maybe Sean King.
What do you think? What do you think the odds are that he's a starting quarterback next year for the Browns?
Well, it should be 0, but I don't know what the Browns
are thinking. $85 million, so he'll play.
Okay,
that's
right.
I mean, that's what
like,
Jim. That's
I'm assuming they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, but the Browns may not be thinking about that at all. I don't know.
What are they thinking about? Do they live under a rock?
No, I think there are people
maybe
in
they're
the
going to blame the coach
that are thinking quarterback. I do. I think they're thinking, okay, what is Sanders going to be at the next level?
God, he's pretty good, man.
He's really good.
Fun to watch, man. That arm, it reminds me.
Is he going to work here?
I don't know.
You know what?
I know G. Bush said it will not work here.
I know he's adamant that it won't.
Yeah.
That all comes down to one thing. Joe Flacco worked here. Why? He won. If we would have traded for Ben Roethlisberger in the last 3 years of his career, there would have been people that were setting themselves on fire over that move.
Right.
But once he was 7-1, you know what everybody would say? The same thing they said about Joe Flacco. So to answer your question, will Sanders work here? If he wins, hell yeah, he'll work here. I don't mean
it from that perspective.
I know what you mean.
Is Dion going to let him come here?
Baggage is invisible when you win.
Agreed.
When you lose, baggage is the first thing you see.
But you know Dion,
I get it.
He's going to control. Like, if he don't want him to come to the Browns.
And by the way,
but it's a legitimate question. But we have to cross that bridge when it comes to it. If the talent assessment side, let's say his name's Joe Smith.
Yeah.
And his dad is a steel worker and not an NFL great. Just in a vacuum, on a talent perspective alone, he looks like the guy that could be a difference maker. Will he be? Mike said this earlier on the show. It's the most true statement that's been uttered on the show today. Drafting quarterbacks is a crapshoot. If you don't believe me, see Tom Brady, see Brock Purdy, and see Jamarcus Russell.
And
You
Ryan
got
Leaf.
two wildly end of the spectrum.
Sure.
So there's no guarantees he'll work here. The true answer is if he wins, he will work here. If he loses, it will be a dumpster fire.
What if Deion says, hey, he's not going to the Browns?
By the way, Deion should say that.
Part of the letter that was written by Nick Chubb was after he went a full day and day one was over, he went to the gym, which tells you all you need to know about Nick Chubb.
What do you mean?
After when he was drafted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
He had a big party and the family was there. And in typical Amari Cooper, or Nick Chubb fashion, it was at a Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, you know,
Right, sure, yeah.
It was humble. Okay. He went to work out the next morning, and his coach, who he calls in the letter crazy, said, if this team calls, don't pick up the phone. And he pointed to the Browns logo. And he said they reconvened at the Buffalo Wild Wings. And as soon as day two was starting, his phone rang, and it said, Cleveland, Ohio, 216. And he almost, he was freaking out. He didn't know what to do. That was the team that was circled. You do not want to go there.
Yeah.
We'd like to think that has changed because of the 2 playoff appearances in the last 4 years. It hasn't. If teams and if superstars are asking themselves before the draft, where don't I want to go? Who were they circling?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the
the
Browns are
Circling
right
the Cleveland Browns.
near the top of the list.
And here's what's interesting that was different when Nick Chubb was playing. In the old days, unless you're Eli Manning and you have the power,
right.
you say, I'm not going to play there. But today, Sanders has a bank account with 6 zeros in it.
Yeah, he can do whatever
He can do whatever
Yeah.
the hell he wants.
What's-
In the old days, that's where I have to play.
Yeah, although John Elway
And Eli
but
Manning.
that's a rarity. in
John
those
Elway
days.
also had the baseball card
Sure.
to deal with.
Yeah.
He said, I'll go play for the Yankees. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the Colts. And when Eli said, I will not play for the Chargers, because he had the gravitas of his brother and his dad behind him, the Chargers blinked.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And Sanders would be in a position, if he wanted to power play it, he is now, because of NIL money and different circumstances, he could tell the Browns, draft me. I'm not playing.
More than anybody else. More than any of those guys.
Right,
Elway, any
because
of them.
now he has the money.
Yeah. And
His own money, too, not Dad's.
Right.
His
Yeah,
money.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And that's a new
for the
wrinkle to the
offseason.
draft that they've never had to deal with before. So, I don't know.
How eye-opening would that be for the
God.
Haslams if they want to get this guy and he just says, "Yeah, we're not coming."
Yeah.
And
Go ahead, draft us. We'll just laugh.
And
All
you know
the
what?
teams-
All of these players that are going to go number one, they're all going to be wealthy. They're coming in millionaires.
wealthy.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
And that changes everything.
Maybe not as wealthy as him, but still.
No,
they have
and
money.
listen, they're not going to leave $50 million in a rookie contract on
Yeah.
the table. They're just going to make it very clear, do not draft me.
It's going to be interesting. I wonder, because there's so much money in the NFL. Remember, the rookies used to be able to make whatever they could make.
Yes, now
I
that's-
wonder
they're
if
slotted
in the
now.
next collective bargaining agreement that changes. I saw there's some quarterback. I can't remember who it is. I obviously don't follow college football that closely. There's some quarterback at some school who I don't think is a particular high draft pick. He might have been like a late pick in the draft.
Right.
Who just got eligibility for a 7th year in college. And I'm thinking like,
Cam Rising, 8th year.
8th year.
Yeah,
Eighth year.
Well,
And
he's
it's like-
eligible now to redshirt to come
Bowman
back
and
next year for an
Oak
8th year.
State.
Well,
State's
maybe
got
he's
7 years.
making more. Like, if he's a 7th round pick in the NFL.
Well, he's already making 7 figures. I read
Right, so
that.
he's probably making more money in NIL than he would in the NFL. If you're
Yeah.
going to be a late round pick,
You're right.
unless you're a surprise
And when
star.
did we ever think that statement would
Right.
be uttered and be true?
Yeah.
He can make more money by staying in college. A lot of the women in college basketball, that's exactly
definitely.
where they are.
Yeah.
Go to the WNBA and take a pay cut.
I think
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark should have stayed in school, but anyway.
Well, there's people that.
but she got the Nike deal.
She
so.
did
Still
get,
making
and,
a
well, she
plenty
could have got
of
the
money.
Nike deal in college, though.
Yeah.
She could have gotten that same
I
deal
think
in
but
college.
she's a
Probably could,
competitor. She wants to play against the
And,
best
and
players.
listen, anybody that is
Yeah.
a competitor is going to say, no,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
highest level is the pro level. That's
Right.
where I want to go. All of that being said, and with this new weird world of NIL
And by the way, did you guys see this the other day that I think it's the state of Georgia, they're going to have NIL for high school players?
well, it was voted down in Ohio last year, but all of the
states just approved it.
Yeah, and all
that's
of the
gonna be
winds are blowing that it's
wild.
eventually coming to Ohio. I've talked to a couple athletic directors and even some people high up at the OHSAA where they say, we're trying to push a boulder up a hill. It's coming. There's nothing we can do to
is there
stop
going to be
it.
that much money for the
No.
top kids? Sure, but not
in Texas football, there might be six-figure deals. You know?
It's
Oh,
wild.
there'll be 6 figures in Ohio.
There may be.
For
I
the
don't
top
know.
kids, probably,
The
yeah.
reason I say in
I
Texas,
think Hoban and Ignatius are going to have alumni that are going to be able to pop
yeah.
in and
I don't
get
know.
some of
Yeah,
those
we're gonna
players.
lose-
I mean,
Rocky River's
I
gonna
would think
lose its
maybe
good players.
5-figure deals. Maybe kid might
Oh,
get 10,000. But
Yeah, I mean, whatever though.
Who
It's-
knows?
for a
Winning-
high school kid,
winning
10,000
makes
is like
ev-
$1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
And by the way, $10,000
nuts.
for a family. Like if your parents are making $35,000 a year,
you change
and
your
all of a
lifestyle a
sudden
little bit.
your kid is going to get paid to go play high school football for. And
Well, plus you're getting
let's say
this
it's
good
$35,000 a year.
Plus, you're getting this good private education. I assume it's a good education.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
don't know that.
It's
But
great.
Well, I can't imagine that a lot of the non-private schools are going to be able to cough up a $30,000 check
no,
for
this
a
is
kid.
only about-
But
it only
St.
benefits the
Ignatius
private school.
wants to be great again.
Yeah.
And they have the donors. And by the way, all of the alumni there that are in influential positions are not happy with where that program has meandered to. You're probably right.
They will. They'll
Maybe
spend
in
the money.
Ohio you could have a
it's a huge
six-figure NIL deal.
And I think at that point you got to go to. I know in New York, the leagues were not separated by size of school, and most of the schools were similar size there. But there was a Catholic league and a
Yes,
and a public
exactly.
league.
Same
That
in New
was it.
Jersey.
Yeah.
And those Catholic schools are always powerhouses.
Right,
Because
they're recruiting.
Bergen Catholic
Yeah.
and Don Bosco, they're
Yeah,
bringing
sure.
kids in from
Yeah.
all over the country. What a
Bull, you
crazy
mentioned Cam
world.
Rising. He was in the same recruiting class, by the way, as like Tua
Oh my God.
and Sam Ellinger, just for example, is a terrible quarterback class.
Sam Ellinger should have stayed in college.
Jake Fromm, Davis Mills, the backup for the Texans, is the #1 overall high school quarterback
giraffe.
in that class.
Yeah.